Hey you! Do you have a story to tell? Do you have a voice that is dying to be heard? Do you want to inspire people? You're not hearing this message by mistake. This is destiny calling. I know you have a voice inside of you that is dying to be heard. This is that opportunity that you've been waiting for. I'm Dr. Billy Alsbrooks, one of the top speakers in the world. And I'm putting together an army. That's right, an army of voices to go out and change the world. I want you to be a part of it. Do you have a story to tell? You didn't go through that struggle for nothing. We're gonna turn it into a testimony. I'm launching a 7-week Unleash Your Voice speakers class. I'm gonna teach you how to put your story together, how to strategically lay out your message, show you how to deliver your gift on stage to audiences. I'm gonna show you how to set any room on fire. If you've ever dreamed of being a motivational speaker, this is your opportunity. When this course is over, you're gonna get a chance to get on stage with me. You're gonna get a chance to shine in front of an audience. This is a phenomenal, life-changing opportunity. Do you have a story to tell? Do you have a voice that is dying to be heard? Do you want to make a difference in this world? Do you want your life to have meaning? Then seize this moment, seize this opportunity right now. Get your phone out and text me at 407-258-2011. Text me the words, I have a story to tell. Don't miss this opportunity. There are limited slots available. Everybody's gonna get a chance to get on the stage, so there are limited slots available. Come join the army of voices. Impact 1 billion. You got a story to tell. Let's go tell it.
Now make some noise for Dr. Billy Alsbrooks.
Oh, I can't wait for this. Where the energy at in this room? Come on, you can't make no money like that. Come on. Hey, greatness requires energy. Breakthroughs require energy. Y'all make some noise. Come on, who wants it? Success is a battle over those who want it and those who want it more. Which one are you? Come on, somebody. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, your number one enemy, it's that voice on the inside that says, stay comfortable, stay safe. That's your enemy right now. Listen, there's a reason these furniture stores sell so many lazy boy chairs. You know why? The common person seeks comfort. Greatness has nothing to do with comfort. I need you to stretch. Who's ready to go to the next level? Come on. You didn't come here to stay where you at. Put your hands up. If you mean it, put your hands up. Come on, somebody. Now I want you to repeat after me. Say, I am a champion. Say, I am a warrior. Say, I am an overcomer. And it all stops right here. Listen, your future is too important to be making the excuses that you've been making. So what? The market turns. Let me tell you what that is. That's one word. That's opportunity. Somebody say opportunity. That's right. There are more millionaires made in the downtime than any other time. Somebody in this room needs to get excited. Your time is coming. You just got to prepare for that season. Come on, somebody. Now, let me tell you a little bit about me. For 17 years, growing up, I was in the music business. I was a rap artist, music producer, songwriter, produced for gold and platinum acts all across the country. On Billboard, had my own radio show. I was in what we call that Hollywood lifestyle, right? Chasing the big homes, the fast money, fast women, fast cars, fast everything. But no matter how much I got, I still had that deep hole, that deep void on the inside missing. And I would try to fool myself and say, if I just had one more hit record, that peace would be mine. That the voices on the inside that were crying out would silence. I just kept fooling myself over and over and over, not understanding why I did not have peace on the inside. And later on, years later, God revealed to me that you cannot solve an internal problem with an external solution. We have to get the inside right first. Now listen, success is a marathon of consistency walked out one day at a time. Every day you got to get up and say, I will own this day. And if you string enough of those together, one day they call you successful. That's all greatness is. Every single day you have to position yourself in a place to win. And if you do this enough, greatness will come to you. Now, me and my old life, I was stuck and couldn't get out of that life. Until one day, life hit me upside the head with a brick. Has anybody been hit upside the head with a brick in here? Come on, somebody. And what I mean by that is you're going along in life, everything good, right? And all of a sudden, bam, life just hits you. Come on, somebody. Yes. Now, I'm not that happy day type of motivational speaker. I am not Ron Howard. I'm not going to get up here and say, everything with the market is going to be good. Because I'd be lying to you. Come on, somebody. The struggle is real. But so is the God that help you overcome it. I'm telling you, listen, this is your season. This is your time. This is your time, somebody. Listen. Now, the way my life changed was I got hit upside the head with a brick. Now, I didn't understand it, but that was the greatest blessing I ever got. Now, I wouldn't have chose it that way, but I wouldn't be on the stage here today if I hadn't been hit that way by life. And what I mean by this is I'm walking in Sunday, right? December 30th, 2007, I'm walking into a rehabilitation center, a nursing home. My dad had just had a stroke 12 days earlier, but was getting better. And when I came in the door, I had good news. The doctor said, we got good news, Billy. Your dad is getting better. We think we're going to be able to get him out of here. He said, but what we have to do today is get your daddy out of the bed and get him in a wheelchair, and let's roll him outside. Because the longer he stays in that bed, the less likely he's going to get out of it. Right? So me and the nurse did exactly what the doctor advised. We lifted my daddy up, put him down in the wheelchair. And about that time, my daddy looked with his eyes, and he said, whoa. And I knew something was wrong. And I told the nurse, I said, something's wrong with my daddy. And she said, no, he's just tired from laying in the bed 12 days. That's normal. And I said, no. I know my daddy's eyes. I've been looking at him since I was this tall. Something's wrong with my daddy. Go get the doctor. So the doctor comes back in, and he says, all the vitals seem okay, but just to be safe, we're going to send him back to the emergency room to do some tests. Well, 10 minutes later, my daddy was dead. My daddy was gone. And he was conscious the whole time, looking me in the whole time with the eyes. I saw the transition. I saw everything. I saw the struggle to breathe. I don't know how many of you know that in this room, what it's like to struggle to breathe, but I saw it up close and personal. And at the darkest time of my life, when I felt the most alone, God was working the most in that moment, right then and right there. What the enemy meant for harm, God was about to make good, but I had to trust him for it. Just like you're going to have to trust for that dream that you're dreaming. You will only qualify for what you are willing to stand in faith for. That's your qualification. You have to be willing to say, I don't see anything, I can't feel anything, I can't touch anything with this dream, but I'm still believing and I'm still moving forward. Regardless of what the outside is doing, you have to continue to believe. Now, the greatest lessons I ever learned about life were in the funeral home. I say I learned all I ever needed to learn about life in that funeral home. And I'm going to teach you the lessons that I learned there the hard way. I go in 2 days later after my daddy had died in shock, okay? I go into the funeral home. The nice funeral director is trying to comfort me. He says, son, do you know where we're going to bury your daddy? I said, no, sir. He said, well, let's take you out to the plot. Your grandmother has bought 3 plots here at the cemetery, and I'm going to show you where we're going to bury him. Now, my grandmother was still living. She was in the 80s, perfect health, right? So we walk out there to the gravesite, and I never will forget. The funeral director says, here's where we're going to bury your grandmother when she goes. Here's where we're going to bury your daddy. And in this last line, changed my life forever. He said, and here's where you gonna lay. Woo! Woo! See, when he said, here's where you gonna lay, I understood because I had seen dying 2 days before what it really meant. I wasn't no stranger to burying people because in the rap life that I came from, the thug life before, I had probably buried 20 of my homies. Between gun shootouts, gang banging, drug ODs, car wrecks, all of that lifestyle. But for some reason, I compartmentalized it and would say, not gonna happen to me, right? Like I'm with them all day, every day, and then one day I'm not with them, they get shot, right? And I'm with that guy every day, and I'm like, oh, it's really bad, what happened to so-and-so? Not thinking it could have been me. But this man just made me confront my reality. He said, here's where you gonna lay. Oh, and it just kept cycling in my head over and over. Here's where you're going to lay. Here's where you're going to lay. So we made our way back into the funeral director's office. And the second part of the lesson began. I sat down and the funeral director slid 2 pieces of paper across the table. He said, now, I know this is going to be difficult, Billy, but I need you to do something for me. He said, on this one piece of paper, I need you to sum your daddy's whole life up in 2 to 3 sentences. Because this is going to be on the headstone. And he said, on this piece of paper, I need you to sum your daddy's whole life up in 2 to 3 paragraphs because this is going to be in the newspaper. So I got to thinking about it for a second, like what would my daddy want to be remembered for? What should I write? But to be honest, my mind was still out there on that gravesite. Here's where you going to lay. Now, I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree, but I eventually came around. I'm like, if here's where I'm going to lay, one day somebody's going to be sitting across this table saying, what do you want on Billy's headstone? And I started thinking about it. I started examining my life. I said, if I died right now, what would they put? And I didn't like the answer. Have you ever just not liked the answer? Because here's the answer. At that stage of my life, if I would have died right then, this is what they would have wrote. Here lies a man that would have ran over anybody and everybody for that next dollar. Oh, I didn't like that story. The next day, the last part of the lesson, I'm at the wake, and my daddy's laid out, right? And people begin to come up and talk about my daddy and how he affected their life. Now, growing up, let me give you some backstory. Growing up, my daddy was a full-blown alcoholic. Just like everybody on my dad's side of the family, from my grandfather to my uncles to him. And he really was a good man. He loved me. He never hit me. Wasn't that type of drunk. But he struggled. He had this vice where he would work 2 months and be sober and doing right and progressing, being promoted at work or whatever job he was doing. But then all of a sudden he'd fall off the wagon for 2 weeks. And see, the way my daddy drank was this. If he had one drop, he couldn't stop. I mean, literally couldn't stop. The only way he would stop would be me and my mother sit with him basically and just lock him in a chair and hold him down for 2 to 3 days until he dried out. He could not do it on his own. And every time my daddy would begin to fall off the wagon, this is what would happen. He would pick me up at school and we'd be riding home and he'd see the gas station and he'd say, I think I'm just going to stop and get me 1 beer. Oh, the infamous 1 beer. It was never just one. We went into the convenience store and he said, oh, look at the sale on 6-packs. Oh, look how much the case is. I know what I'll do. I'll buy the case and drink one and give the other 23 to my brothers, which he would have half that case drunk by the time we got home. Now, my dad did this cycle all the way from my middle school years all the way up to my senior year in high school. He could not stop. My senior year, though, my mother had enough. She finally filed for divorce. And the craziest thing happened. That was the last day my daddy ever drank a drop of alcohol in his life. For the next 15 and a half years, he was sober. And he was impacting people. This is what happened. He spent the first year after the divorce getting himself right. And then he started going out sponsoring other people and helping other people get off addiction and get off of alcoholism like he was, right? So when I'm at this wake, I'm about to find out what my daddy's been doing this whole time. First guy comes up and he says, your daddy came and got me on the side of the road at 2 in the morning when an officer had pulled me over for drinking and driving, and I already had 2 strikes. And if I go to jail now, I'm going to prison. But your daddy talked the officer out of taking me to jail. He said, I'm his sponsor. This is a good man. He is working on this, and I'm going to help him seize back his life. And the man said, because of your daddy sowing life in me every single day, saying you are a champion. You have greatness in you. You are meant for more than this. And he would do it every single day. He said, because of your daddy, I've been sober 3 years. The next man come up and he said, your daddy came and bailed me out of jail at 4 in the morning when my family threw away the key and they give it up on me, but your daddy didn't do it. He said, you have greatness in you. Start acting like it. He said, and because your daddy, I've been sober 4 years. A couple came up and said, we were at the kitchen table with your daddy about to file for divorce. And your daddy said, don't do it. Just keep believing. Get in counseling, do the steps, do the work. You can make it. I believe in y'all. The lady told me, because of your daddy, we never got divorced. We got into counseling, and we have never been more happy in our life. We've been together 10 years since your daddy sat down with us. Now, I realized at this wake that I had my life all wrong. Because it wasn't what I was hearing that was bothering me. It was what I wasn't hearing. Like, I'm getting up every single day chasing this thug life, chasing this money and all this, right? And at the end, nobody said a thing about what I'm chasing every day. I'm living and dying for this stuff, right? And I realized at that moment, the only thing that matters is how much you sow into other people around you. That's your real net worth. How much are you sowing into those around you? That's what you're going to be remembered for. You want to live on for eternity? Sow life into the people around you. That's what this organization is about, helping people become the best version of themselves. And what I like about this organization, it's not just about money with them. They want you to be better people across the board in every single area. True success. I realized I had it all wrong. The reason we are here on this earth is to leave this place better than you found it. Don't let somebody come into your life and not leave them better than when they came in. Come on, somebody. That's your goal. Now, here's the question. If you got pens out there, I want you to write this down because I'm going to give you some self-assessment questions. Now, listen, questions will take you wherever you want to go. You just got to ask the right questions. Now, my first question for you today is, what do you want your legacy to be? Write that down. What do I want my legacy to be? And what I mean by legacy is when you are dead and gone, what do you want to be remembered for? I remember reading this story about this famous author. Every book this guy wrote was a bestseller. So he's doing this interview with the host, and the host asks him, what is your creative process? How are you able to continue to write such amazing material over and over? What's your creative process? And the author said something so profound. He said, when I sit down to write a story, the first thing I do is write the last chapter first. And I was like, why would he do that? And then he answered, he said, and the reason I write this last chapter is because I always want to know where I'm going to end up in the story. And then I went back to that funeral home and those 2 pieces of paper that funeral director had slid across the table. And I realized that headstone in your obituary, that's the end. That's the last chapter. And what we should do is be just like that author. We should stop and think, how do I want to be remembered 40 years from now when they put me in the ground? What do I want them to say at my wake? What do I want that obituary to read? See, where there is no vision, the people perish. You got to get a vision for your life, a real vision. You got to know why you're here, what your mission is, what your purpose is, what your objectives are. If you don't have a vision for your life, you're going to be walking around in a constant state of confusion. The ancient scriptures say, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And where there is no vision, my people perish. We need knowledge of our vision. We need to know what it is we are interested most in and what do we want to be remembered for. So tonight, what I want you to do, when you go up to your room, when tonight is over, I want you to get 2 pieces of paper out, and I want you to write your headstone. Go 40 years into the future, whatever it is, however long you think you're going to live, and I want you to say, what do I want on that headstone? And then I want you to write that obituary. I want you to dream big. Like there's no limitations, because in reality there are no limitations. There's only a lack of resolve. And when the why is greater than the obstacle ceases to exist. So if your why is strong enough, you can achieve anything. So write with that intent. I want you to dream big. Now, every good story, every good movie, every good song has a theme. So here's a question for you. What is going to be the theme of your life? What is the theme? Write that down. What is going to be my theme? Now, the next thing there is, what is going to be your slogan? Every good business has a slogan, right? Nike, what? Just do it. Apple, think differently. Even here, it's aim, ready, set, grow. Come on, somebody. What is going to be your theme? Your slogan? Mine is blessed and unstoppable. And if you get the right slogan, it will carry you through the hard times. I remember having this 40-city tour, this world tour, where I'm going out speaking across the globe to live out my legacy, my dream, which is impact 1 billion people. God put that dream in me, impact 1 billion people. And as I begin to pursue that dream, I'm all going off great, and then all of a sudden, life hits me with a brick called COVID. Boom! I got a 40-city world tour scheduled in March 16, 2020. They shut the world down. I had people around me, are you going to cancel the tour? I looked right down at my slogan and lifted it right up, and I said, what does that say? It says blessed and unstoppable. It doesn't say blessed and stop when the first flu season comes along. Come on, somebody. You get the right slogan. That's what you got to do. You get the right slogan, you can conquer anything. And you need a real strong slogan for this season and this economy. You get the wrong slogan, you're not going to make it. You get the right one, you're going to come out stronger than ever. Turn this into an opportunity. And just like you got a theme and you got a slogan, every good movie has the right soundtrack. What's going to be your song? What song best represents you? If you put it on, you're like, yeah, that's the life I want to live. And I'm going to show you how important having the right theme song and the right music to your life is. Just imagine. Anybody ever seen Rocky in here, the movie? Okay, can you imagine the 12th round, him going in there to fight Apollo, his eyes are busted, and he comes out there and there's a love song on. Come on, it's not the same as hearing them horns, come on. Right, you gotta have the right soundtrack. Woo, somebody. You get the right soundtrack, you in there. You feel me, come on somebody. You got to get, there's so much power in having a vision. Vision is the genesis of all greatness. You got to build your future between the ears first. Let me tell y'all straight up, I dreamed this stage long before I ever got here. I closed my eyes back in 2017 when I first started doing motivation. I closed my eyes and I seen arenas. I seen packed rooms. I seen the neon. My mind and my mouth were here long before my body arrived. Whatever you take possession of in your mind, you'll eventually take possession in your body. Come on, somebody. And I say like this, I say, well, my life doesn't look like my dream. Well, starve the illusion and feed the dream. I will not feed the illusions. I will not accept anything but the dream I am dreaming. And I will make the world bow down to what I am seeing in my mind. It's either going to happen or I'm going to be in the ground. There is no other way out. There's no plan B. 18 players don't have a plan B. Come on, that's why they all in. That's what you got to do if you want to be successful in this environment. Let me give you a story to illustrate it. This real estate team came to me. They'd just been in business 1 year, and they did really good the first year. They had done $3 million. They had won all the awards, all that stuff for the county, the greatest sales, all of that. And the lady comes to me and she said, listen, we did really good last year, but we got bigger dreams. And I got excited. Oh, I love bigger dreams. Come on, somebody. I was talking to the CEO when I came in. I said, tell me a little bit about the group. She said, we got a lot of small business, mortgage brokers. Okay, write this down. Write small business down on paper. Write that down real quick. It's in my spirit to do this for y'all. Write small business down. Okay? Then I want you to take a line and scratch out that small and put big. Ain't nothing about you supposed to be small. Come on, somebody. Come on, we got to get the words right. Words got power. What does it say? Death and life in the power of the tongue. Those that love it shall eat the fruits thereof. You got to speak greatness, speak big, speak overcoming, speak success, speak abundance. Come on. This lady said to me, we did really, really good last year in real estate, but we got bigger dreams. Our goal next year is to do 12 million. And then she said to me, do you think we can do it? I stopped her right there and I said, first of all, you don't need my permission to live the dream that's in your heart. You don't need nobody's permission. And just because the people around you don't get it, that's on them. You don't need permission to be great. Stop asking local people about your global dream. They're not going to understand it. There's two languages spoken in the world, local needs and global needs. And we can't communicate. Y'all ever watch Charlie Brown? If you take a global dream and try to tell it to a local person, right? You come up to them and say, hey, we're going to do 12 million next year. You know what it sounds like to a local person? Wah, 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 wah. They can't hear you. And when they try to talk back and say, I don't know nobody that's done 12 million before, what does it sound like to a global person? Wah, 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 wah. Now, I made this mistake for years trying to talk global dreams to local people. And I even went to as far as when I couldn't communicate, I pulled out my phone, went to Google Translate, and I looked for the setting, how to translate global language into local language. And you know the strangest thing? It's not in there. And I was like, you know, the question to change lives, why is local to global not on Google Translate? And then it came to me. After hours of meditating. Because you're not supposed to tell a global dream to a local person in the first place. They won't understand it. They don't have the mental capacity to process what God has planted in you. They say, I don't understand your calling. It's okay because you wasn't on the phone call. Right? Come on, somebody. Somebody in this room, it's in my spirit. You've been asking for permission your whole life. You don't need permission to be you. Stop asking. Let your work ethic speak for you. Let your vision speak for you. Your passion speak for you. So the lady said, well, I don't want to get greedy. Is 12 million too much? And I'm like, you think God is going to bounce a check? Like, this too much, like, oh, I don't want to ask God for too much, you know. Come on, he got a lot of things going on. Hurricane in Florida, we don't want to stress him out. Come on, somebody. I said, are you serious about 12 million? How bad do you want it? That's the only question. She said, we really want it. I said, okay, here's what you do. Get your team together on Monday, and I'm going to come speak to them. And I'm going to help y'all get to that goal, right? So Monday comes, she got the whole team in there. They all got their pencils out and pads out, thinking I'm about to do normal like I do on my tour, give a 5-hour seminar. Not today. I'm doing 5 minutes because that's all they need. I walk in the room and I say, okay, first thing I want y'all to do, you see this blank wall over here in your office? I want you to put a 3-foot poster on it just with the number 12. Just with the number 12. I want you to stare at that 12 every time you come into this office. Okay, in the back of your business cards, I want y'all to get new business cards. On the back, really, really big, the whole back of the business card, just put the number 12. Everything in your desk, everything in the lobby, I want it to have the number 12 on it. When you start your Zoom meetings off on Monday morning, I want you to say, good morning, 12. When you leave the day at 9 o'clock at night because you're grinding, when you leave at night, I want you to say, goodbye, 12. The air fresheners in the car when you're going out to take people to see the houses, I want it to be the number 12. So everybody say, what's the 12? It means we're going to 12 million. On the back of your real estate shirts, say they got their realtor brand on the front. I want you to have that jersey number 12 on the back. Now, they implemented everything I told them to do. 12 months later, they had not done 12 million. They had done 14. Come on, somebody. Now, listen, that's just half the story. They called me back. They said, hey, we did it. We hit 14. And then she asked me the next question. Listen, I don't want to get too greedy. Which ain't biblical because The word says, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Right? Come on, ain't no limitations. She said, I don't want to get too greedy. But we want to do 21. I said, okay, get your team together. I'll see y'all Monday. I come in on Monday, they got the pens out, thinking it's gonna be a 5-hour seminar. I say, nope, it's gonna be 5 minutes. This is what I need you to do. You see that 12 on the wall? I need you to flip it around to say 21. I need you to get rid of them business cards, and we're gonna put 21 on the back. On those shirts you got, I need you to put 21 on the back of the shirt. The knickknacks, the air fresheners, everything in the lobby, 21. When you call your Zooms, when you do your lives, sign on, sign off with 21. 12 months later, they hadn't done 21. They did 24. And this year, they're on the way to 32. Come on, somebody. That's the power of vision. You have to decide what it is you want. Now, there's a difference between wishing, hoping, and living in fantasy land. What makes one a wish and one a vision? It's the faith behind it. You're right, correct, action. Because if there is no faith, you take no action, no faith. Now, you have to match the size of your dream with the size of your action, with the size of your faith. You can't build a $21 million dream with a $3 million mindset, a $3 million upwork ethic. Come on, somebody. This is why we struggle. We're trying to do something that we're not capable of because we haven't upgraded our system. iPhone upgrades its software every 6 weeks. We got to do the same thing with our mental software. Come on, somebody. When's the last time you upgraded your mental software? Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. I'm going to give you number 2 now. Because first it starts with vision, knowing your legacy. Number 2 is identity. Oh, this is critical. You have to know who you are. Stop letting other people tell you who you are. Who are you? Write this question down. Who am I? That might be the most powerful question you ever ask yourself. If you ask that question to most people, they say, I don't know. Come on. Who are you? Let me show you how important it is. I'm on the road. So far this year, I've been on the road 160 days since January, speaking all over. So I get a lot of packages sent to my house, right? And because I'm not there, the postman will leave like the notice. Come pick up a package. You got a package at the post office, right? So I will take the package down there, the little notice to pick up my package. And on the notice, it's got my name, Dr. Billy Alsbrooks. So I come in and I'm like, hey, I got a package. Can I pick it up? What's the first thing the lady says? Let me see your ID. But no, ma'am, don't you see my name is on the paper? It's mine. The package says my name. I understand that, sir, but I need to see your ID. Now, success is the same thing. Success is waiting on you. It's waiting on you, but you can't pick it up unless you know who you are. Somebody needs to hear this. We must unlearn all that we have learned in order to become all that we are capable of being. You have learned too many limitations. People have told you too many things that you cannot do, and those are all lies. With God, all things are possible. Straight up. I'm proof. I ain't supposed to be on this stage. But I believe, and God is good. Come on, somebody. You can do anything that you set your mind to. I don't mean wish and hope for. Begging don't move God. Faith does. See, listen, destiny is obligated by universal law to demand what it is that you are standing in faith for. Destiny is obligated by universal law to concede to the demands of unwavering faith. The question is, do you believe? Do you know who you are? Do you know who your maker is? This world will try to put a cheaper price tag on you all day if you let it. I'll give you a good example. Before I came here to Vegas, I went by the gas station, and they had a little sale going on bottled waters, 50 cents. I go to the gym that morning on the way to the airport, the same bottled water, same brand, $2. Went to the movies the other night, saw that same brand, $3. When I got to the airport, it was $6, same bottled water. What's the difference? Positioning where you plant yourself. For you to give birth to that greatness, you're going to have to plant yourself in the right place, around people that understand you and understand your dream. People make this mistake trying to partner with lukewarm people, thinking they can set the world on fire. Come on, everybody on your team should be burning with passion to do what you're trying to do. If they're not, and I mean this respectfully, if they're not, get rid of them. You can't do big things with common people, with average people. Average is the plague. It ain't COVID. More people have died from average than they ever will from COVID. Average is the plague. Average should scare you. Average kills dreams. You got to know who you are. God didn't make you average. He made you in his image. Ain't nothing about God lukewarm. Ain't nothing about him average. Ain't nothing about you should be average either. You must know and understand who you are. This story really, really stuck with me when I read it. This man found out he was having a baby. He was so excited because he thought he couldn't have kids. Finds out he's having a baby. Before he even has her, before it's even giving birth, he runs out and buys a car for the baby. He said, when she turns 18 and graduates, I'm going to give her this car. Now, he put that car in the garage and didn't do anything with it for 18 years. So you can imagine what that car looked like, right? Flat tires, don't crank, battery dead, all of that, rust, everything. So on graduation week, his daughter comes up and says, Daddy, I've been really wanting to ask you, but, I wasn't sure, but I've been really curious about what you're going to give me for graduation. He said, baby girl, I've been thinking about this day for 18 years since you were born. You're such a blessing. When I found out about you, I went and bought this car for you. The car in the garage, that's yours. Now, you can imagine her response. She said, you mean the car that don't run, that's got flat tires, that's rusty? You mean that car? He said, yes, baby girl, that car. And she kind of looked at him funny. She said, I love you, Daddy, but I was expecting a little something different. You ever expected something different? Come on. But it was really right what she needed because he about to teach her through this situation. He looked down at this little girl and he said, baby girl, do you trust me? And she said, yes, Daddy, I trust you. He said, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go in that garage, and I want you to take pictures of that car and then go down to the local pawn shop and ask them what they'll give you for it. She goes down to the pawn shop. Now, she had took beautiful pictures. She used Snapchat filters and everything to try to make that car look better. She gets down there and shows the pictures to the guy at the counter at the pawn shop, and he tells her every reason why they shouldn't buy the car. It doesn't run. The tires are flat. It's rusty. It's old. Transmission's probably gone. All of this stuff. He said, if you can get it down here to us, we'll do you a favor and give you $100 for it. So she comes back, and she's kind of disheartened. She says, Daddy, they told me they'd give me $100 for it. What should I do? He said, baby girl, do you trust me? She said, yes, Daddy, I trust you. He said, okay, now what I want you to do is take those same pictures, go down to the local dealership and show them and see what they'll give you. So she goes down there, and pretty much the same response. The guy said, it's beat up, old car, rusted, flat tires, won't run, da-da-da. If you can get the car down here to us, we will do you a favor and give you $1,000 for it. So she felt a little better. So she comes back and she said, Daddy, they would give me $1,000. That's what they said at the dealership. What should I do? He said, baby girl, do you trust me? Yes, Daddy, I trust you. Okay, what I want you to do now is, they have a local car meet down the street here at the plaza where the antique car guys are. I want you to go down there and show those pictures to them. And she does like he says, and she comes back ecstatic. And she said, Daddy, did you know that car in the garage is a rare sports car that they only made 5 of? Listen, 3 different people offered me $100,000 for that car. And you know what? They said they want to come right now to pick it up to our house. And he looked at that little girl and he said, it's the same with you as that car. You either taking your gifts, your talents, your love, your dreams to the pawn shop and getting $100, or the dealership at $1,000, or over here where they belong. Your decisions will ignite the explosion of change. Your decisions will write your story. Write well, my friend. Write well. Come on, somebody. How many in here have been taking their gifts all along to the pawn shop? Come on, you feel it? You feel it. Know your worth. Know who you are. It starts with that. Identity. The last thing I'm going to leave y'all with today is mindset. The scriptures say, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your mind is powerful. You do not truly know what you are capable of. You keep downgrading your potential from this ignorance of who you are. My people perish for a lack of knowledge. You don't know how much greatness is in you. How many of y'all are familiar with the COVID mask? Come on, somebody. Now, I'm not against COVID mask. Let me show you something. I'm not against COVID mask, right? I'm just against where they tell us to wear them. Okay, now if you got big dreams and you're trying to do something that normal people don't understand, you got to pull out one of these. Okay, now the common people say, look, this is how you wear the mask, right? That's not how I see it. That's not how the greats do it. And that's not how the word says to do it. The word says, take these and put them over your mind, over your thinking. You have to quarantine this. When people come over to my house, I ask them this question. I say, you got your shot? You got your vaccination? And they say, COVID shot? I say, no, your face shot. I can't have you coming in my house, my business. I can't have you stepping into my dream with doubt because it will spread. Come on, somebody. Everybody around you has to be bought in to what you're doing. So write this question down because it's really, really important. It's going to hurt a lot of people in this room. Listen, write it down. Write this question down. Who in my life right now does not belong? Ooh. Because there's some people that were meant for your life in the last season that aren't meant for this new season that's coming. And as bad as you want them to go with you to success, they just don't have a ticket. Come on, somebody. I struggle with that because I would try to bring last season people to this season. Oh, what a headache. Anybody feel me on that? Come on, somebody. Like the people at 3 million with the realtors, the people at 3 million weren't the same ones that were there when they did 21. The dream was too big. You got to quarantine this mind right here. You've got to make your dream inside your thinking, right? You got to make it so big that it has no place else to go but into the physical. Dream so big it just overflows into the physical. Protect your thinking. They used to ask me when I'd go out on the road right in the middle of COVID, aren't you scared of getting COVID? No. They say, why? I say, because I ain't got no room for COVID in my mind. If COVID can't get my body, if it can't get my mind, it can't get my body. Same thing with defeat. Same thing with lack, scarcity, sickness, bankruptcy. Oh, if it can't get you here, it can't get you here. Somebody needs to understand that. Now, I'm going to give you a couple things that I picked up on the road that are life-changing. You know, being on this tour, I got to meet hundreds and hundreds of millionaires and billionaires that come to my seminars. And I'm going to tell you the strangest thing. This is the mindset you need if you want that next level. This is the mindset, right? Okay, every single time I would meet one of these wealthy people that come up to me at my seminar, it was like they were speaking the same language off the same script. You know, the first 2 or 3 times when people came up to me, I didn't catch it. But after about number 5 and 6 and 7, I'm like, that's a coincidence. They keep saying the same thing. Why do the millionaires and billionaires keep talking the same way? Because it's a language. And this is what they would say. They would come up to me and say, I appreciate you. You know, I love the videos, love what you're doing, the motivation, blah, blah, blah. We do the introduction, and then here it would come. They ask me a question every single time. They would say this: how can I add value to your life? I'm like, the first time I heard it, I'm like, never heard that before. Most people saying, how can I raise my prices to you, right? Come on. Every single millionaire and billionaire that came up to me said that same thing. As soon as we got past the introduction, how can I add value to your life? And I'm like, there's something to this. So by about the 7th or 8th person that came up to me and they started talking, I could size them up and I knew what they were. We get past the introduction, I said, I know what question you're gonna ask me. They say, no, you don't. I said, yes, I do. You're about to ask me how you can add value to my life. And they said, how you know? You one of us. Come on, somebody. You want to change your life. I'm going to tell you how to do it for the next 7 days. Commit to this. Who will commit to this? Raise your hand right now. If you want next level, raise your hand. I know success ain't for everybody, but if you want to be successful, raise your hand right now. Okay, I want you to commit to this. The next 7 days, everybody that comes in your surrounding touch that you can reach and talk to you, I want you to ask them this question: how can I add value to your life? I had a guy did this for 3 days. He made $400,000 extra in 3 days just asking this question. He called all his previous clients up and said, hey, you know, I really appreciate your business. Is there any other value that I can add to your life? And it will blow your customers away. You're like, you mean you called me not to tell me that you were raising prices, but that you wanted to give value to me? Money chases value. And the ones that understand that will make it in this coming downturn. The only ones that understand this are the only ones that will thrive. Come on, somebody. I had a guy start a mortgage company 2015, 2016. He had hired me back in 19 to come to Hawaii to speak to one of his teams. So I got to talking to him. And I said, man, you only been in business 3, 4 years? You got offices in 40 states? You got $1 billion company? How did you do it? He said, I was working for this one company that I didn't like the way they were doing business, treating customers. He said, I knew I could do it better. He said, so I broke out on my own. I started my own mortgage brokerage service, but the only problem was I had no money to market, no money to hire employees, nothing, and I had one customer only, a friend of mine who was doing me a favor. He was getting a house, and he was like, I'll let you be my mortgage broker. And he sat around there for days thinking, how can I get this business off the ground? What is going to be my strategy, right? How do I do this? I don't have any resources. So he came to the conclusion, the powerful revelation of this. This is how he told me that he approached that first customer. He said, I'm going to sit down with this guy, and I'm going to treat him better than anybody in the world can treat this guy. I'm going to add more value to his life than anybody can do it in this business right here. I am going to make sure every aspect of this deal goes right for this man. And I know if I add that kind of value to him, he'll go out and refer 10 more people to me. And he said, that's what I did. He said, I sat down and I served this guy. I added value to this man. He referred 10 people to me. Then those 10, I sat down the same way like they were the only customer in the world. Whoever's in front of you, that's the only one in the world. And I will treat this person better than anybody. I'm going to dominate in customer service. I'm going to dominate in value. He said, and then those 10 referred 10. And I had a business. He said, I had them hire employees. And just in this Hawaii branch, I got 120 brokers. And I conveyed that same message to them. And this is how we treat everybody. This will change your life. Common people seek money. Wealthy people seek value. The more value you add, the more return you will get. Simple as that. Who's ready for that? Will you commit to this? Say this after me. Say, I will add value. I will add value. Come on. Now, you're going to have to be resilient. because there's going to be some ups and downs coming. I'm going to tell you about this other guy. Came to one of my seminars. When I got done, he came up to me, the same thing. I got to add value to your life, right? But we got to talking. He's like, man, I just wanted to come thank you. He said, I had a goal 3 years ago. I was 26. He said, my goal was to become a millionaire before I was 30. And he said, 2 months ago, I achieved that dream. He said, the second goal I had was to buy a Lamborghini, and I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. They got the keys waiting. He said, I just want to come by and thank you. So I'm like, okay. You know, I need to learn. I learn from everybody. If you are winning, I need to study that and figure out how I can convey it to others around the world. That's what I do. So I asked him, I said, you know, first of all, what kind of business are you in? He said, I'm in solar. He said, the worst business you could be in. He said, it's hard. He said, it's really, really hard. He said, this is what we do. 7 o'clock in the morning, we get dropped off in neighborhoods. And each one of us takes a street, and we go cold door knocking for solar at 7 in the morning. He said, you can imagine the responses we get. We show up, we knock on the door. Hi, how you doing today? I'm so-and-so, I'm selling solar. Have you ever thought about buying solar? No, get out my porch. Boom, and slam the door in his face. He go to the next door. Hey, you know, I'd like to talk to you about solar. I'm in the solar business. Get off my porch. Boom, slam the door. He said by the fourth door, the common person that we hire quits. He said, but the numbers and stats show if we knock on enough doors, we win. And we win big. We just have to have the mindset to keep knocking. And he said, this is what happened with me and how I became a millionaire. He said it was because of you. He said, this is what I would do. He said, I would go up to the door, and I'd have my AirPods in. He said, I'd knock on the door in the morning, first customer. Would you like to buy some solar? No, get off my porch. Boom. He said, as soon as that door slammed, he pulled his phone out. He had me on YouTube on the motivational videos, hit play. Boom. I was born a champion, raised a champion. I got champion in my bloodline. All I ever be is champion. And then by that time, he would get to the next door. He'd put pause on the motivational video. Boom. And knock on the door. Would you like to buy some solar today? No, get off my porch. Boom. He pulled that phone right back out. YouTube, hit play. Boom, I was born a champion, raised a champion. I got champion in my bloodline. All I ever be is a champion. He said by that third door, I was knocking with a little bit more intensity. Where most people were falling off, I was getting fired up. Yeah, you want to buy some solar today, don't you? And it's contagious. And the guy would say by the third door, he said, how did you know? Because I saw you last night when I closed my eyes. I saw you answering that door and say, yes. And matter of fact, I saw that your brother needed too. How did you know? Because I saw it in my mind. He said, I did this every single day. He said, I learned to own the 30. And I'm like, what does that mean? He said, I became a millionaire by owning the 30. I'm like, what does that mean? He said, listen, it took 30 seconds for me to get from this door to this door. Now, the winning is done in between right here. The no, the rejection, and who can stay focused and not carry this no to the next customer, to the next door, to the next situation. He said, if I own the 30 by listening to and keeping my mindset right, and I showed up at the next door with that intensity and kept doing this, I would win. I had to learn to own the 30. He said, I became a millionaire just by owning the 30. He said, I'm number one in 16 states. Now this guy, he's just average looking, right? Just common person. But he had this supermodel fiance. So I asked him, you know, I said, man, all kidding aside, how'd you do that? To be real, how'd you do it? Because I got to learn how you did that. He said, I learned to own the 30. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, I asked out 30 times and she said no, and I just kept on asking. He said, we get married 2 months from now. Come on, somebody. Own the 30. Your success potential will always be equivalent to the level you're willing to be uneasy. Like I said when I started this thing off, success has nothing to do with comfort. First thing you ought to do if you want success when you leave this door, ask this question: how can I put myself in the most uncomfortable position possible? Because that will make you grow. The common person says, how can I make my day easier? Come on, you got greatness in you. I'm going to end with this. Somebody needs to hear this too. Every step up the success ladder you go, you're going to have to get in the ring with something else you fear, right? Something that you fear is going to prevent you from going to the next level. And until you are willing to get in that ring and face that fear that you keep running from, you're not going to the next level. Now, with me, I had this dream in me of going around the globe and then impacting 1 billion people, sowing life over them. But the only problem was I was scared to fly. That ain't going to work, right? I had to get in the ring with flying, and I just had to trust God with that, right? And that was good. I faced the fear. I flew about 10 times, and I was getting comfortable. Oh, somebody can relate to this. I was getting comfortable. I'm on this flight going to speak in Denver. And the topic I'm speaking on is faith, trusting the dream, trusting in yourself, trusting in your maker, having that kind of faith, right? This is what they said, we need you to instill this faith into these kids that are graduating, right? Because we've instilled all the tools and all that, but we know that when they get outside of that real world, things are going to happen. And we need them to believe, and we know that you can sow that over them. And I'm like, yes, sir, that's my calling right there. I can sow that dream. I can sow that faith into them. I'm the one. So I thought, right? Come on. I thought I was already qualified to speak on faith. Oh. I'm on this plane, and I'm sitting in the aisle seat, 30,000 feet. Beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky on the way to Denver. I'm sitting in the aisle seat, nobody's in the middle seat, and then there's a guy in the window seat, right? Seatbelt light off, people walking around, all of that. But all of a sudden, we hit turbulence from hell. I'm talking about final destination, Mayday, we going down kind. I don't mean just a little bump. I'm talking about, let me show you how bad it was. I'm sitting there and this lady's walking down the aisle. And we hit this violent turbulence that threw the plane like this, and she rolled down the aisle over my shoulder. I'm like, oh my God, crazy. Like, literally, I'm in this aisle, but I'm looking across the aisle, and I can see the ground. This is not good. And then I can see the ground out this window. Sir, this is not good. The pilot is struggling for like 10, 15 minutes to get control of the plane. We go up, we go down. Listen, it got so bad, the bags were coming out the compartments. The lights were flashing. Oxygen mask came down. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, God, don't you know I got to go speak? Could you at least do it on the way back? It's chaos. Let me tell you what it looked like, just to describe it. I look back here, right? In the back of the plane, and it's total chaos all the way around. You want to see a community come together? White, black, red, brown, Jew, Christian, Catholic, it doesn't matter, Muslim. We all came together as one. If you want to get a community together, get on a plane that you think you're going down. I'm telling you, all that other stuff don't mean nothing. We brothers and we sisters, trust me. And that's what we got to get back to, right? Come on. But it was all chaotic. People praying, babies crying, all of that, all around the plane until I got to this guy sitting next to me. No lie. This guy's leaning up against the window looking like this. Just calm as can be. Has somebody's peace ever bothered you? I mean, they like, you just, bro, don't you know what we going through? Right? Like, why are you so calm? Didn't you see the market today? Do you know they raised the interest rate 3/4? Don't you know? Come on, somebody. His peace bothered me. Now, I had made the mistake watching one of the 9/11 movies before I got on that plane. The Let It Roll, you know, when they tackle the guy, all that. So I'm thinking like, this guy's not acting right. His behavior is not fitting the situation. He's supposed to be crazy like us. So I'm watching him. I got my eye on you because you're too peaceful. So I got to probe him because it's really bothering me that he's so peaceful. So I look over him, I say, man, it's a crazy flight, ain't it? And I started looking at his body language. I want to see if he was a threat, right? And he looked over at me. I never will forget. He said just like this. It's a little bumpy. And he went to looking back out the window. I'm like, a little bumpy? You didn't see the lady just roll down the aisle? Like, bruh. And then I'm thinking, you know what? I watched another movie, Twilight Zone. He's in another dimension, and we just overlapped in the fourth dimension because he's not on this plane. There's no way he's that comfortable in this situation. So I remember looking back over him confused by his, it's just a little bumpy, right? What do you mean just a little bumpy, sir? Enlighten me. And he sure did. He sure did enlighten me. He looked over at me, he said this. He said, you know, in situations like this, I don't get too bent out of shape because I know who's flying the plane. And he just went back to looking out the window. Oh, listen, big bad motivational speaker, preacher, all that. I got the Bible in my lap and everything, going to speak on faith. But this man just showed me what it looked like. It's not faith until the turbulence comes. Everybody can do it in the peacetime, right? When the rate's at the bottom, we all could be mortgage brokers. When it's at the bottom, now we about to find out who's real, right? Come on. Come on. Man, you should be happy. All the people that don't believe, they about to get out your way. Come on, somebody. Let me tell you, it was like when he said, who's flying the plane, I immediately knew this was a God lesson, right? Because you're going to speak on faith. I needed to show you what it looked like. And I tell you not, I kid you not, I looked up, you ever winked at Jamaica like, okay, I get it. Right, I get it. You could have done this a different way. Right? And the craziest thing, as soon as I acknowledged the lesson here that I learned in the moment of the trial, the plane went. As soon as you get the lesson, that season of trial will be over. Come on, somebody. There's going to be some times when you leave this door today, it's coming. There's going to be some turbulence. And when you want to quit, when you want to give up, when you can't see that dream happening, everybody around you collapsing, all of that stuff, I need you to remember who's flying the plane. Come on, somebody. Now listen, you can either sit around and listen to inspirational stories, or you can get up and go become one. I want you to get up and go become one. I love you. Thank you for having me out here. Ready? Blessed and unstoppable. Success starts with putting the right things into your mind. And my new book, Blessed and Unstoppable, was strategically designed to align your mind with the laws of success. This curriculum will teach you the inner mechanics required to go from average to phenomenal, from living a life with limits to being blessed and unstoppable. As you follow this guide step by step, amazing breakthroughs will happen. New doors of opportunity will open, and favor will begin to chase you down. Blessed and Unstoppable is a 31-day devotional on the laws of success. This book will instigate the thought process and actions required to transform your life. Each day has a Bible verse, a teaching on that day's principle, a positive affirmation, a prayer for the day, self-assessment questions, success quotes, action steps, and a powerful inspirational message. Regardless of what field you're in, Blessed and Unstoppable is your blueprint for success. Get your copy at blessedandunstoppable.com. Also available on Amazon.